What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. In here with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread? How are you?
Oh man, the NBA's in full swing. World Series starts this week, and of course the NFL and college football keep chugging along. Couldn't be more excited time to be a sports fan. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. I couldn't be more thrilled. We got Astros going to another World Series. We got to get it done this time. I'm thinking 5 years later we do. Facing a Phillies team that I'm really a fan of. I bet the Phillies a lot this year. Um, always been a big fan of Bryce Harper. He's such a clutch player. Plays big in the biggest moments, and I know he's feeling pretty good about his decision to join the Phillies because it worked out really well for him. With him not only getting to the World Series this year, but he's also was the key component with that big home run that he hit to send him to the World Series. So all of the plans that Bryce Harper made, and he's right here from Vegas, has came true when everybody was wondering, like, what the heck is he doing going to Philadelphia? And, at the time when he was a free agent, a lot of people wanted him to go somewhere on the West Coast. They thought he'd want to be a little closer to home, but he ended up signing with the Phillies, and he's done well. Last Monday night, a couple nights ago, saw the Bears just destroy the Patriots. I don't know what's going over there, but as we talked about earlier in the season, the Zap was going to kind of do to Mac Jones what we saw happen with Brady, do the same thing to Drew Bledsoe, and we're seeing that go. Got some NBA, like you said, is in full swing, and then controlling the news and controlling the whole Twitter is everything about the Kanye West situation. Um, really sad situation, man. There's a lot of fallout that's coming from. I heard Jalen Brown and Aaron Donald just left his agency yesterday. Obviously, they were squeezed and forced to, make a decision because everybody's employees all come from the same pot. So I think that's kind of what Kanye's trying to get across to people about the power of independence, man. If you got the same group of people that's controlling all these different outlets for your talent, then you're going to always be at the mercy of them. All right, man, let's get to the past.
Maybe at Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky gets it done for us. How were you feeling about that game? What did you see?
Oh, we cashed that one, man, just like we expected. It was just Western Kentucky's offense was just a little bit too much at the end of the game, a little bit more consistency from them than we could get from UAB. UAB is a great team. They play some great defense over there, one of the better mid-major programs in the country, but they just can't keep up with what Western Kentucky has to offer on offense. Coach Helton does a great job with them. Where they have a great balance of defense, but they also get the ball up and down the field like Western Kentucky teams have done in the past. And we caught the -1.5 and were able to win that game, fortunately.
Is our guy Bailey Zappi? Is he a Western Kentucky alum?
Yeah, he's Western
Yeah,
Kentucky
yeah,
guy. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah,
He
that's
was the
what I thought.
quarterback actually last year there.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So, interesting situation, and we'll get to that in a little bit. There, UCLA headed to Oregon. That was their first loss of the season.
Yeah,
What did you think of that one?
I think that Oregon is a better team than I give them credit for. I think Bo Nix has developed more than I want to give him credit for. Time for me to realize that when I saw the game, remember we took them plus the 17 and a half the first week of the college football season against Georgia in that kickoff game. And he left a sour taste in my mouth. We really thought that he was pretty much the same guy he had been before due to his performance against Georgia. And he hasn't played a bad game since. And he was really the key factor in that game. And it was just the perfect storm for Oregon. You got UCLA coming in from the sunshine and um, beauty of playing at the Rose Bowl, and just perfectly for the Ducks, it starts raining. It rains. It's a great day. It rains all day at Autzen Stadium, and from the first play of the game, it was Oregon's day. DTR was very frustrated. Didn't look like himself at all. Got to give some props to a head coach over there at Oregon, former defensive coordinator for Georgia. He's done a really good job of turning that team around. They're playing ball. I knew he had a full cupboard of talent, but he didn't show it against Georgia. Maybe it was first game jitters. But I'd like to see Oregon play Georgia again. Now, I bet you that the game wouldn't look the same way that it looked earlier in the season. That's due to coaching. He's developing those guys, and they're looking really good. UCLA, just a tough loss on the road. But hey, they're still right on track to out exceed the expectations before the season. Chip Kelly's still doing a phenomenal job. He had won now 9 straight games until they lost to Oregon. Had some big victories already, and I think if they beat USC at the end of the year, I was forgiven. But my main take from that game was that Oregon can play, and they can play with a lot of teams in the country, and that Bo Nix is really developing into a good quarterback.
The Indianapolis Colts not only lost a game, they lost a starting quarterback as Matt Ryan was benched. I thought we were going to see a guy that we were high on, Malik Willis, there because he did get some snaps, but it looks like Tannehill will be back next week. But Matt Ryan will not be back in the starting lineup. Quite the win there for Tennessee. You got to think that being a divisional game and the magnitude of that game led to this decision. So, great pick there on the Titans. But what do you think of the Colts' decision here to move on from Matt Ryan?
I feel like they should have done it at the beginning of the season, and they could have saved a lot of money. I'm a big fan of Ballard. He's a Houston guy, so I'm always rooting for him, and he's one of the sharpest GMs. He's done a great job rebuilding that roster. Problem is, he keeps investing in these old dinosaur quarterbacks. They would have done better just from the jump, giving the kid a chance to run from Texas, to let him be the quarterback. Uh, you know, what are you going to lose? It's no different by running him out there or running Matt Ryan out there, because at least when you get this kid in there, he can run around a little bit, some plays off of second reaction. And I just don't understand why they even spent all that money on Matt Ryan. Now he's going to sit on the bench and pretty much collect his retirement check when they could have just started this kid from the jump. He's been with them 2 years now, and he's a baller, man. He's one of the better quarterbacks to ever come out of Texas. I think that he's going to bring some life to that team. Ellinger has always been a guy who that his teams rally around. He's a big, strong, tough guy. What I do worry about with him is injuries, because he doesn't slide. He likes to take on defenders. If he needs a yard, he's going to try to plow through whoever to get it, because he's that type of player. But I think he brings a spark to them. We'll see how accurate he is in the passing game. It was a good win for us. That was one of my biggest bets of the week, was the Titans first half and for the game. I also gave it out on ESPN 97.5. The Titans just are a better team than the Colts right now. And I'll be heavy on the Titans coming up this next week when they come to Houston as well.
The addition of Christian McCaffrey was not enough as the San Francisco 49ers not only lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they got boat raced. That was a statement game there for Kansas City. And I'll tell you what, I didn't downgrade the Niners too much in my power rankings, but I did have to upgrade the Chiefs with Bosa playing, Trent Williams out there. Obviously, McCaffrey's not fully integrated yet, but for them to win in that manner, you have to upgrade the Chiefs. What do we do with the Niners here, and what were your overall thoughts watching that one?
You remember I initially said take the 49ers, and then I said that was before I knew Kansas City was lost to Buffalo. I thought Kansas City was going to win at home against Buffalo, and coming to this game a little bit unfocused, a big game with Buffalo. Everyone knows Buffalo's their biggest challenge in the AFC, and that they would be, a little down for this game against Frisco, kind of feeling themselves, but it was just the opposite. With them losing to Buffalo, that changed their whole perspective coming to this game. They did what great teams do. They made a statement. You saw the talent gulf between having a Mahomes as your quarterback and having Jimmy Garoppolo as your quarterback. That's the main thing I took from this game. The game really snowballed for the 49ers, beginning with that terrible throw by Garoppolo right before the half. When the 49ers were driving to actually take the lead going into halftime, he got picked. And after that, it was just the Mahomes show. The Chiefs defense did a really good job stopping the run enough to make it where the ball was forced to be in Jimmy G's hand. As usual, the Chiefs offense was lights out. Mahomes was lights out. And he put up a great performance. How about that offensive line for Kansas City? Unbelievable job of keeping Bosa and those guys at bay. I don't even think Mahomes got sacked that game, if I'm not mistaken. So, just a great job of the Chiefs showing that when it's a real game and when they really have to put on their big boy pants, how they can play. Like I told you, I'm still on them. I need to check the odds because they're going to the Super Bowl. They're going to go to Buffalo and win in the playoffs. They have an opportunistic defense that plays really well in big games. And it seems like every time that the Chiefs go against these big time teams with these great defenses, their defense steps up and plays well too. You know, uh, they get little credit, the Kansas City defense and Steve Spagnuolo about the job that they do over there because it's such a great offense. You know, you got the Rolls Royce at quarterback and Pat Mahomes, so they get all the attention goes to that offense, but hey, their defense is solid. Keeping the 49ers to 23 points, that's all you have to do with Mahomes as the quarterback. So shout out to Steve Spagnuolo for another great job in a big game for Kansas City on the defensive side.
All right, let's move into the present in the college football world. Utah will be -7 at Washington State up in Pullman. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this is tomorrow night, man. This is going to be a very, very interesting game. Washington State has cooled off a little bit since their hot start at the beginning of the year. They lost at Oregon State and at USC, but they are a very good home team, and they played Oregon really tight at home. If you remember, we had that game, and Washington State covered it. Great performance by their quarterback, Cam Ward, that we've been on all year. I think Washington State's going to bounce back in this game just simply off of their really good home team. Utah does have a squad. You know how much we respect Utah and what they're doing, but they're also coming off a really highly emotional game. Remember, they beat USC and they honored the two kids who died on the team last year during that game. So with that high that they were on from that last minute victory over their big rival over a big program, USC, I don't know if they come in as focused as you would expect from them against Washington State. And I feel like when they pull up in Pullman, uh, that Washington State will still be able to fight with them and keep this game close. Washington State is very hungry for a victory after everything that just went on with them losing their last two. The Utes are 2-5 against the spread in the last 7 meetings between these two teams, and also the Utes lost their tight end last week as well. The Cougars are missing one of their main receivers in Renard Bell, but they have plenty of receivers there. I just feel like Thursday night in Pullman, it's going to be a close game. Washington State is hungry. They have a really good defensive coordinator, and we're dealing with remembering that if Utah can't bully you with their run game, then they have to throw the ball to tight ends instead of receivers. And then you have Washington State, who we know how fast they can score, running that run and shoot offense that they run, and they have the right trigger, man. If they can protect Cam Ward enough, and if he's smart with the football, I think they can keep it within 7 points. So I'll definitely be looking to take Washington State on that game, probably at home +7.
Another game on Thursday night, the National Football League featured on Amazon Prime. What do you think of Prime, actually? What do you think of that? I watched that Prime cast where you can see more of it. I think it's kind of fun. What have you thought about it streaming? The weird thing is like the Twitter timeline's all over the place. And for like the bars, it's not the same, right? You know, usually you go to a bar and there's 20 TVs and the game's on, you know, people are cheering in the back room and not the front room. What have you thought about it going on Prime real quick before we jump into the game?
I have no problem with it. It doesn't affect me just because I'm a streamer. So when we having a TV that we do all streaming, we already had Prime. So
in the sports books, is it all janky too?
I have not went to the sports books one Thursday night since this season began. I've been at home watching the game. You know how I am, Spread. You kicked it with me out here. You know, if I got a lot of money on the game or we've given it out and I got a lot of people riding on that game, man, I don't like to be around all of those guys betting $20, 10-teamers yelling and screaming and stuff. And so most of the time I watch the games here at home. I've set up about 4 screens for the weekends, but I need to get to like 5 more with the NBA and baseball all going at the same time and try to, get those things situated in the man cave so I could watch the games. But Prime doesn't give me any issues strictly because I already was, like I said, streaming. We already go there and watch different series and things. So it was an easy transition. The crew that's on there is okay. Of course, I'm a fan of guy Andrew Whitworth because he's a Monroe guy, solid. Tony Gonzalez knows what he's doing. He's been on TV a while. I got to warm up a little bit to the other two guys. Fitzpatrick is he talks a little pompous on there, like he was Hall of Fame quarterback in the NFL. I know you were decent, man, but you have to remember you got to have some humility with you giving out what these quarterbacks should do. He's a little tough on the quarterbacks. He talks about things he wasn't doing himself, and that kind of troubles me. Richard Sherman, I've never been a big Sherman guy. They don't do a bad job. They got good announcers going with Al Michaels and Herbert.
Let's talk about the game. The Baltimore Ravens are -1.5 taking on Tampa Bay team. That boy, definitely the biggest upset of the week, maybe the biggest upset of the year, as they fall to the Carolina Panthers, and the offense looks absolutely anemic. Do you expect Tampa Bay to bounce back?
I expect this game to go under. That's what I expect. I expect Tampa Bay to play really good defense and give Lamar some problems on defense.
I think these Thursday night games are tough. One thing though, the road team hasn't had as much as a disadvantage this year. And when you're looking at the road coaches, you want to fade the first year coaches and the inexperienced ones. Harbaugh is definitely a guy that's going to be able to get his team up for Thursday night. So I don't think the road team is at the normal disadvantage. But you know how these Thursday night games are janky. It never goes by just a football handicap. It always seems like something crazy is happening. The offenses aren't necessarily prepared. And I think it's easier to prepare a defense on the short week because you just run simpler coverages where the offenses aren't able to install packages to specifically attack the type of defense and the stuff they're seeing on tape that they would usually do during a normal week. So that's another reason why I think these Thursday games have been under. So, I mean, Amazon's got a lot of money. Hopefully they push for that buy idea that I've been pushing for to get a better product out there. Even last week's game, they put up a lot of points, but it wasn't necessarily a well-played game.
What Todd Bowles going to do, he's going to take Levante David and Devin White, and he's going to put them where they're keying on Lamar Jackson, getting in robber positions and also spy positions. They're going to make him throw them. They're going to bracket Andrews, and they're going to just really make life difficult. You're going to have a big game from Rashard Bateman. Todd Bowles is going to trust his cornerbacks one-on-one with the kid. So if Bateman can win, which he's done a lot of times this year, healthy, he's been a number one receiver. If he can win on the outside against Carlton Davis or Brandon Dean, then I see the Ravens being able to win this game just because the Ravens pass rush is going to give Brady some problems. Their D-line is going to really give him some issues. Brady just isn't right now, and I'm going to talk about him a little bit more. He's the first player that's about to go and kick the damn extra point for his performance last week and throughout this whole season. And just a totality of all the things that he's done. Pretty much just took that organization and seized it, and it's not good for the future of the Bucs. Just so he could get another ring, which he was able to do, and now he's kind of mailing it in on them. He has the receivers out there playing. The guys are open. He's just missing them, man. And all that comes from Brady isn't practicing. He's more worried about his ventures and his problems at home. And he's taking advantage of that situation by dealing with a coach that he can handle because he got Bruce Aaron out of there because Bruce Aaron wasn't going for that BS. So we're going to talk about Brady a little bit later, but I'll be going to the under on this game just because I know that Baltimore's defense is always come to play ball. I know how Lamar struggles, especially against these type of defenses. It's supposed to be wet. It's going to be raining and supposed to be some thunderstorms in Tampa that day. So everything to me goes under. This is going to be a 4-quarter game that comes down to probably the leg of Justin Tucker. So if I had to go with a side, I'd go with the Ravens. But for sure, I'm going under 45.5.
Let's talk NBA real quick. Let's start first. The Nets will be in Milwaukee taking on the Bucks. Bucks -3.5-point favorites right now. Main thing I've seen, the Nets are struggling with the loss of Bruce Brown. They thought Ben Simmons was going to come in here and fill that role. That has not been the case. Simmons had a lot of time off. I'm not ready to write him off yet, but it hasn't looked good so far. So once again, this is a completely top-heavy team that needs Irving and Durant to go off completely, or they're going to struggle to keep up. Although, Bucks role players aren't as well heralded. I think they're a more complete team here. And of course, I'm just giving away that's going to be my ball and parlay. And Giannis is currently the best player in the world to me. So what do you think about the Nets and the Bucks?
The Nets are kind of just out there winging it. KD at this point is just worried about putting in his numbers. The best bet on any Nets game right now is KD over 30. As long as he's healthy, he's just going to do numbers and try to lead the league in scoring. Kyrie Irving has took a step back this year. He doesn't look like the same guy we used to seeing. I don't know if it's just because he's just, beginning of the season. He doesn't look like a top 10 player like he's looked like in the past. So I think that the Bucks are going to probably give him a lot of problems on the defensive side. So I'm with you. I'll be on the Bucks, and I'll let you break it down for the people a bit later.
All right, let's talk about the nightcap. The Los Angeles Lakers have yet to win a game. Now they head to Denver to take on the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic, and the Denver Nuggets. I mean, the Lakers have to win at some point. Russell Westbrook might sit tonight. That probably helps the team.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they need. And boy, I'll agree with one thing that Kevin Durant said. This NBA Twitter, it's just the discourse around the NBA is toxic. And I hate that word because I think it's so overused. But I mean, it's just a bunch of dudes that couldn't make, like me, couldn't make their high school team, right? And they're sitting there and they're clowning on these NBA players left and right. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that I don't clown these people on the NBA, right? But like, where so many people just get so much enjoyment from watching these guys fail. And the way that people are treating Russ, yes, I understand it's bad and it's fair game, make fun of his shooting woes or things like that. But it's gotten really ugly there in Los Angeles. Maybe without him on the floor, that's what this team needs to actually just focus in and win a game. But Denver's no slouch. Michael Porter Jr. is looking great. Of course, they have the MVP. And, it's so funny that Russ gets all the criticism. But Anthony Davis has regressed a lot since that first year that they won the title, right? I mean, he's nowhere near the player he was at that point. He's not shooting that well either, but somehow Russ gets all the criticism. I'm not really sure what to do this game. I told you before we started, when I ran my numbers, I came right to this point spread and right to this total. I had the Nuggets by 6 and I had it right on the total. I'm fine staying away from this one. Do you think I'm missing some value?
A lot of money is going to be on Denver tonight. It's an ESPN national game, and we know how those games get. They always get a little tricky, just like last night. It was too much money on the Warriors in the primetime game, and you saw the Suns really got a friendly whistle last night on a lot of calls, and I would not be surprised if the Lakers get the whistle tonight in Denver, just because, well, as I said, it's a national game. LeBron has not won all season a game yet. Everyone wants to make it where it's all Russ's fault. So this is the perfect night for them to show everyone this Russ's fault. So if I bet aside, I'd probably wait and bet it live so I can get better value, because 6 points isn't a lot of points to give up with a team as bad as the Lakers are. I mean, they're going to be probably starting tonight. Nunn and Patrick Beverly, and then they're saying LeBron and AD are both game time decisions. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'm just not a fan of AD at all. AD, I know that the Pelicans are rejoicing down there. All the New Orleans fan base is so happy to have him gone. They say that he was a prima donna, all of these things, and now they filled up one of probably the best, if not the best, at least one of the top 3 rosters in the NBA off of that trade. And now the Lakers are stuck with a guy who really doesn't care too much, So the Lakers are going to have a long season, as I said. Too bad that LeBron is going to waste his last few prime years, because he hasn't lost much on the court as far as being able to shoot and facilitate. He has lost some on his athletic side, which makes sense from him being 38 years old, but he's still one of the brightest minds in the game if he was with the right type of team. Now, just imagine if he stayed in Miami,
Well,
tough it out of state.
Like AD, it was a business decision to go to the Lakers, right? There was much better squads, but he wanted to be down there in Hollywood. He wants to do his little barbershop show, right? He wants to make documentaries. So
he could have did all of that in Miami. He could have. Yeah. He has the money to fly crews in to shoot that. And Miami isn't a bad place to stay. He wanted to get to Hollywood, and he's doing well with the Braun Productions. But just like Brady, do
you think they'll do well though when he's gone? Like once he's out of the league, do you think that people will still pay attention?
What, the movies?
Yeah.
Well, the movies he's pushing, it's a lot of them that come out that I don't even know he's attached to until I see Braun on it when it comes on. So he's getting his hands into a lot of things. He's a billionaire, so he's not, he's definitely having success in business as he's moved to LA. It's worked for his pockets. But on the basketball side, if he would have stayed with the Heat right now, he'd be getting ready to maybe contend with Jordan to get maybe a sixth championship, I think, because they have the elite shooters that he needed in Miami to still be
Yep.
very successful, and he made a bad decision with that one.
Instead, it's Steph chasing Jordan there,
Right. Instead, he
as he
got
keeps
to
knocking him
really
up.
chasing Jordan. And
All
last
right.
night, you saw the Clay. I've never seen Clay go off like that. Clay was pretty ticked
Yeah, he
last
was
night.
pissed. He was pissed.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what Booker said, but he said something disrespectful to Clay because Clay really, and
He
Booker
never
has a
does
mouth
that.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, he does. All right, let's get into the future. What you got here for the future?
We're going with the Astros with the sweep, man. The money's too good. It plays plus 650 and it's very doable. I got a lot of respect for the Phillies, but this Astros team mentally is on a whole different level right now. They're in a refuse to lose mentality. And what lets me really know that, think about this. The Astros went down twice in game 4 in New York, and they could have easily just mailed it in, going down more than 2 runs. It's just like, hey, man, uh, we about to go back to Houston. We'll get these guys in Houston. But no, they wanted to win that game and win every game. Their approach is to beat everyone. They want to leave no doubt about everyone that were naysayers and haters about the 2017 championship. Now, 5 years later, they want to show you with a bunch of new faces and new cast members that this is just about our organization and how good we are. This is about how great we are as a team and as a organization, man. So do not be surprised at all if the Astros are the first MLB team in history to not lose a game in the playoffs. If they run this 4-0 and make it 11-0 in the playoffs, it'll be the greatest postseason run we've seen, and they'll also be challenging for maybe the greatest Major League Baseball team in history. So I think that all of these things are on the mind of the Houston Astros. And remember, our Hall of Famers, Justin Verlander and Jose Altuve, did not play well. So they're due. Both of those guys had terrible playoff series in both series, actually. Uh, Verlander did look a little bit better in his next showing. He struck out over 10, and he ended up breaking that record as the most strikeouts in postseason history. But still, people who know JV like we have from watching him from so many years know he wasn't sharp. So if he gets sharp and catches up with the rest of the staff, which has been lights out, and then Altuve back wakes up along with all of the others, the things that they're doing. You can always expect Jerry Pena to step up. You can always expect a great bat from Jordan Alvarez. You can always expect Yuli Gurriel to be clutch. You can always expect Alex Bregman to be clutch. Chas McCormick is giving them so much. King Tuck, my guy Kyle Tucker is one of the most underrated baseball players in the whole league. He plays a hell of a right field, and he also is a great bat. Uh, just the Astros just have a dynamic team, man. Just a wonderful job by our owner rebuilding that team to what he wanted to make. He said in 2014 when he came in that he was setting this thing up for the long run, and he's proven to be a great owner and has done a lot of things. Jim Crane for Houston, and we really are blessed to have Jim Crane as the owner of the Astros. And the farm system is stacked, and it's only going to get better. So I think the Astros make a statement and go sweep this whole series. And if they do, you can get plus 650. There's no better number than that on the best team in baseball.
And you went away from a coach today on kick the damn extra point. Let us know why.
This is all about Tom Brady. The type of thing that he did at home, obviously, by his wife being upset that he refuted retiring like he promised her. He also has done this to the Bucks. Just think about the changes that have happened in Tampa Bay since Tom Brady came. Tom Brady did win them a Super Bowl, but as a lot of people don't know that his GM is Jason Light, who was also his offensive tackle. So they're buddy buddy. So he's letting Tom Brady pretty much do anything he wants to do in Tampa Bay. He's not being a normal player, just one of the guys. He's letting him do things that the other teammates have to see and have to object to. He practices now when he wants to. You got Bruce Arians ran out. Bruce Arians didn't want to stop coaching. That was all Brady forcing him out because he wanted to have a coach that he could control, like Todd Bowles, because Todd Bowles is a lot quieter, a lot laid back, a lot more player friendly than Bruce Arians is. Bruce Arians was calling out Tom Brady all last year. Anytime he was messing up or doing things he wasn't supposed to, Bruce Arians was letting the media know, and Brady didn't like that. So Brady has taken that Bucks whole organization by siege, and they're about to pay for it when he retires after this year because they are not set up for success in the future. Brady lied to his wife. He told his wife he was leaving. As you and I know, Tom Brady's wife was more famous than him when they met. So she has sacrificed her whole career. We have not seen as much about Giselle being a model. I know she's older, but believe me, she has gigs everywhere. And in Brazil, she could be pretty much the diplomat over there if she wanted to for the United States. They love her in Brazil. She could probably run for office. She's focused on, helping him with the kids and being there and letting him put everything he can. As you can see from his documentary, his whole life is football. This last year, he did some spiteful stuff. Just because they broke the news earlier that you were retiring doesn't mean I'll show them and I'm not going to retire when you know that you were not going to give your all this season. You let down that Bucks organization. You let down us bettors. The last game, the performance against Carolina was absolutely pathetic. He was missing so many open guys, and we all know it's from repetition. The thing that made Tom Brady so great was that he was going to outwork you. He was going to outpractice you. And now he's bringing all his personal life and personal matters into the Bucks locker room, into their organization. You got people like AB, who you associated yourself with. You know what type of person Antonio Brown is. He's not a good person, man. He's just not the guy that you want to bring to your home around your wife and around your kids. And just because you love football and want to win so bad, you let this man come stay at your house. And now 2 years later, he's putting out all these posts with your wife Google behind him and all in his face and stuff, looking like she's about to kiss him. And now people are wondering if AB had a relationship with your wife while he was standing under your roof and things. And it's mighty funny that the next day after AB posted that video, the divorce process started and both parties agreed on it. So it wasn't her filing or Brady, it was both of them. So it's just a lot of bad decisions Tom Brady has made over the last couple of years that a win at all costs mentality. He's about to lose his family. He's losing now on the football field. He looks like a shell of himself. He's making the bettors lose, and it's all because he did not want to step away when it was time to step away because he was so out to prove a point to the media about breaking early his retirement. And also, he was so selfish and wanted to be the guy. He didn't want to step out the spotlight and allow someone else to be the face of the NFL. Tom Brady, keep the damn extra point. Go get your life together, man.
It's time for the ball and parlay. Let's start with you. What do you have for tonight to give out some more winners for the people?
Man, we're going to go to the college football world. Um, it's going to be a Thursday night game, so this will be up in enough time for you guys to catch it. We apologize about the last few weeks about what's been going on with that. You guys have missed a lot of winners because we've been getting it up late, but it'll be on time this week. We got Louisiana Lafayette. I've always been a fan of the Raging Cajuns program. Their coach left for Florida this year, and I think he's going to end up doing a good job there right now. They are struggling at Florida, but I don't think that that's going to last long after he gets his own guys in there. Billy Napier set them up for long-term success with his recruits and with the mentality that he put in that team. Now they're going to face a USM team who is decent. They're not the worst team, but they're a middle of a pack mid-major team. But they don't have enough to deal with this Louisiana Lafayette team. Louisiana Lafayette is a program that plays defense. They play defense at a super high level. They're a team that's got a lot of athletes at receiver, at running back, and now they finally have the quarterback. Beginning of the year, their coach was trying to be loyal to the guy who already was there in place, Fields, but now he's put in Ben Woolridge, a transfer from Fresno State. And since he's became the quarterback for ULL, the offense is completely jumped now. They're putting up points and they're blowing people out. They beat a very good Arkansas State team last week, 38-18. They also went upset a good Marshall team that beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame early in the season, and they held them to 13 points. I just don't see Southern Mississippi with their anemic offense, struggle at quarterback. The quarterback has not had a good season. Wilkie, he's not that good. He will not be able to move the ball consistently against Louisiana Lafayette because the game is in Southern Mississippi and Hattiesburg. Louisiana Lafayette is a pick or some places you might even find them even money. I call them at +1 and even money. Roll with Louisiana Lafayette, and also we got a lot of public money on Southern Mississippi. I think Louisiana Lafayette rolls into Mississippi and handles their business, and they come out of Hattiesburg with a big victory. So Louisiana Lafayette money line and Louisiana Lafayette +1 is my pick for the Ball and Parlay.
I spoiled it earlier, but I'm going with the Milwaukee Bucks over the Brooklyn Nets. Hey, this Nets team might be a force in playoff time, but it's going to be a work in progress here as they have to reintegrate the role players. They're really missing Bruce Brown. They hoped that Ben Simmons was going to step in there and take over that role. And hey, I don't want to write him off yet. He's a talented guy, and Kyrie's Kyrie, but Kevin Durant, regardless of his Twitter antics and what people think about him, he is one of the hardest workers in the NBA. He does love the game. You have to think that hopefully that will rub off on Ben Simmons. Otherwise, it's just over for this team because they're going to need him. Not necessarily on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. And if he can't make it work around these two shooters, Kyrie and KD, it's going to be rough for him to really rehabilitate his career. So while I'm not ready to write this team off yet, I am ready to write them off for right now, for tonight, and for early in the season. This team has yet to have the chemistry. They're too dependent on their two stars to go nuclear. They don't have enough chemistry. They're not moving the ball well enough, and they're not getting enough from their supporting cast. Meanwhile, the Milwaukee Bucks lost their second best player. I mean, you can argue Drew Holiday is right, but regardless, right there, and they haven't missed a beat. You know why? Because they have great leadership under Giannis, and all their role players know their role. They know what's expected of them, and they execute accordingly. So I'm going to take the Milwaukee Bucks to continue to have success over the Brooklyn Nets. That's my pick tonight.
All right, guys, and I also throw this in a quick NBA parlay that I'll be playing tonight. It'll be the Cleveland Cavs money line. They're going to be at home against Orlando, times the Knicks money line against the Hornets. Both those home teams are in a great situation to win. Both those teams are playing really well. I like what I'm seeing out of both of them. You can parlay those two together.
That'd be what, -125?
Like the Cavs and the type of way that they're playing ball, they're really a good front court team, man, and they really play good defense. And then you got the Knicks with the same type of form, with really good defense that they play, and they make shots when necessary. So put the Cavs times the Knicks, a two-teamer for Wednesday night, and it pays you -130. So it's still good money on two really good teams that are both at home against lesser competition. So we got spread going tonight with the Bucks. -3.5 at home, and I'm going with Louisiana Lafayette money line tomorrow, Thursday, in college football. And then also as a bonus pick, you can take a parlay with the Cavaliers times the Knicks money line. Hey guys, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll talk to you guys in a couple days. Best of luck to you all.